Good evening, everyone. We're about to start the capstone and a wonderful portion of our program. Before we do this, since he's up here already, I would like us to recognize John McDonald for all the wonderful food. John has worked tirelessly behind the scenes and has been just a tremendous asset to us. The food and the accommodations have just been remarkable, and we'd like to thank him very much. It's my distinct pleasure at this point to welcome Mark Vaughn to the stage. Mark will be distributing the Margaret Ashita Awards for this year, and it's an amazing opportunity, and Mark has been a tremendous friend and colleague, and we're thrilled that he is back to help us, to assist us with this process. Mark?
Evening, everyone. Hopefully that means that you can hear me. It is certainly a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to participate in what has become for me a highlight of these convenings, and that is the opportunity to reflect upon and to honor the legacy of Margaret Ashita. For those of you who may not have known Margaret or aren't familiar with her, let me just share a little bit of why we are doing what we're doing. To honor the memory of Margaret Ashita, the New York State STEM Education Collaborative will honor STEM leaders in one or more of the following areas: pre-K to 12, higher ed, and STEM workforce, each year with a Margaret Ashita STEM Leadership Award. Those of you who knew her can attest to the fact that Margaret was an outstanding woman who created waves of change by her tireless efforts to create connections between business and industry and STEM, educational leaders in colleges, and the K-12 sector. Not only was that the case here in New York State, but across the United States and beyond. She was a thought leader, often creating ideas and connections between and among educators and business and industry to further the implementation of pathways for developing America's STEM workforce. As a founding chairperson for the Empire STEM Learning Network, which is a statewide community-led collaborative, and a board member for just about every alphabet soup you can mention, including New York State STEM Education Collaborative, AMPNIS, NISBE, NISTEA, and STANIS. Margaret was a walking and talking STEM stigator. I don't know if it can be trademarked or patented, but t-shirts should be coming. Margaret is missed, but will never be forgotten. We remember her by her work ethic, her dedication to excellence, and her friendship to all she met. As we share these acknowledgments and recognitions today, I'm happy to also recognize the 2023 Margaret Ashita STEM Leadership Award Committee, Dr. Lorena Harris, who was not able to be with us tonight, and Karen Dykeman, who is here. If you would stand so we can acknowledge you. I also have the great honor of being a former Margaret Ashita STEM Leadership Award winner, and I see others who are past winners in the room. So before we welcome the 2023 cohort into the club, I'm going to ask past winners who are present if you wouldn't mind standing so we can recognize you. What a August body that our 2023 honorees are about to join. In addition to the trophies that you can see on display, Corning Incorporated's Office of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, that I lead, is happy again this year to present each of the winners with a piece of Corning glass in the form of these vases. The winners get to choose which vase they would like, and so try to be gentle because they are glass. As each award winner is introduced and their award is presented, we would invite them to just take a few minutes to share their own words as we honor them. So first up, we're going to invite Chuck to come with the presentation to Tracy Young, who is the 2023 Margaret Ashita STEM Leader for Pre-K to 6 Education. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you, Mark. And on behalf of our New York State STEM Education Collaborative, we thank you for all you have done for our collaborative and for STEM education and STEM learning throughout the area. And I also thank you for your friendship. Okay. I had the pleasure of sitting in on one of Tracy Young's conference presentations. Immediately, I was impressed with her classroom strategies, her unique and positive approaches with her students. If I were to pick one word to describe Tracy, it would be innovative. She is innovative on so many different levels. Tracy is a widely respected presenter, leader at the state, national, and international levels at conferences. Tracy is also always willing to help out in many capacities with our STEM Education Collaborative. For me, Tracy Young was the perfect choice to be best bestowed with the exemplary Margaret Ashita STEM Leadership Award, and that's why she is a recipient today. Congratulations, Tracy. Come on up and get your award. You're welcome.
I'm a little short. So I'm kind of overwhelmed. I've only been in the area of STEAM for 7 years, like starting my 7th year, but I really think I found my home. This is going to make me cry as soon as I sit down. I said I wasn't going to cry when I got up here, but I want to thank everybody that I have met along the way because they have helped me become more passionate about what I do, and every time I'm with somebody else, I learn something new, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with my new friends more often, so thank you.
Next, we're going to present the 2023 Margaret Ashita STEM Leader Award for 7 to 12 education to Jean Gordon. I'll just reiterate some of what you have hopefully enjoyed learning about him in the ordinal that was shared as the conference publication. Gene has been a teacher of science for over 30 years. He has taught in urban, rural, and suburban districts and has taught everything from math to electronics to physics to astronomy and robotics. He prides himself on wanting to learn everything about everything. Gene has created and run clubs encouraging gaming, science, astronomy, and has started multiple U.S. FIRST robotics teams. Although Gene retired from teaching in 2018, he did not fade into the woodwork. Asked to join NASA Hunch, he has spent the last years helping students across the country as they excitedly pursue their dreams of making things for space. It is a privilege and a pleasure to present the Margaret Ishida STEM Leadership Award for 7 to 12 education to Gene Gordon.
I wasn't told I was supposed to say anything, so. I guess the thing I'm asked the most of all the things I've done in my life, in my career with teaching, is like, everybody keeps asking me, how are you able to do that? How are you able to do that? As a teacher, I can give one piece of advice on that, and that is never accept anybody saying no. And that includes administration and public and everything. If you want something for the kids, then do everything you can for them. Remember, it's for them. And so what I've done and all this stuff with NASA was a lifelong dream for me to be able to work for something that I remember at 6 years old, sneaking downstairs to watching the news, the first Neil Armstrong walk on the moon. To work for NASA was to be a part of NASA in 2008 was something. Then to fly in the Vomit Comet was even more. To have my students create things that end up in space, to create something that NASA didn't even know they wanted was amazing. Those dreams you can help instill in your kids by not accepting somebody saying, oh, it's going to cost too much or it's going to be too much work. Find others with the same passion and push. Thank you. I'm going to take the red.
In case you didn't hear that, he said he's taking the red. It occurred to me that some of us have been hanging out so long on this STEM journey that I'm old enough to need readers. Some of you may as well. Last but not least, we are happy to present this year's STEM Leader STEM Workforce Award to Darren Kuhn. With over 100 product designs and hundreds of millions of products sold, one might assume that Darren is a serial entrepreneur or inventor. However, he will tell you that he is a teacher. And his mission is to nurture the problem solvers and innovators of tomorrow. In the classroom, he imparted the engineering design process. When implemented outside of the classroom, this same process allowed for the creation of products that now sit on the shelves of major U.S. retailers. If you've used Teacher Geek STEM components or tried Karma, that is the drink with the powder that bursts from the cap, you are already familiar with some of Darren's creations. Please join me in celebrating Darren Kuhn.
right. Yes, I didn't have anything prepared either. How do you tell a STEM teacher from a math teacher? The math teachers have way more problems, right? The textbooks. But STEM teachers have bigger ones. And that's actually why I came back to education. So when I left education, as you said, all I was doing is everything that we teach the students, and I learned the value of that. But outside the walls of education, people are they're not as nice, as kind, and it just didn't feel as fulfilling. So I consequently came back, but with a very specific purpose of uncovering those problem solvers. It's the deviants, it's the ones that they're not the rule followers that I'm finding is the entrepreneurs and the innovators. Some of them are A students, but so many more of them are the Bs and the Cs. And so what you guys do, giving them those opportunities, those that can be life-changing, as we were talking about, like butterfly effect. It's these singular moments in the classroom that have, absolutely changed their futures. And so all I'm trying to do is just enable you. I'm so appreciative of what you guys do, and I'll do anything I can to help and support. So thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining in this annual celebration. As I relinquish my stand, allow me to remind you of something that you certainly are aware of, and that is the mission of the Empire STEM Learning Network. Remember, that was Margaret's vision. It is to advance STEM education to prepare all students, regardless of their career goals, for college and career success, to fuel innovation and economic vitality in the Empire State. I believe that that was a vision that Margaret was committed to, that I know you all are, and it's a wonderful thing to continue in this good fight. Congratulations again to the 2023 honorees. Thank you.
And I'm pleased to note that Teacher Greek has provided some materials for us, a gift, a t-shirt, and a robotics kit for each of the participants. So when we finish here this evening, please go back to the table just in back of the buffet line, and you'll be able to pick up your gifts. So thank you very much, Teacher Geek. Okay. Is Kadi here? Christy Blick. So we're going to start with that, if we can have the projector on.
Don't turn on yet. We need the very first one.
I'm sorry.
I think put on my glasses.
Okay.
This is the
Is that the one you want?
5K. No. That first one seems to be gone. 5K, what's that one? No, hold on. I have to go check. I want the one that ends with 7M.
Okay.
It's a YouTube. Keep that one there, yeah, add
Yeah.
another one. It's YouTube, it'll probably come up.
YouTube.com watch.
7M. Nope. I guess you'll have to start typing it in.
Okay. watch question mark V equals C. I thought I had the right one up, sorry. C7 V1 Q L L SN 7M.
Are your L's capitalized? No. I don't think you capitalize the L's. Seven V1.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, full screen. Don't let it start yet. Okay, and also I'm wondering about the volume. That didn't sound very loud down there. So
Okay.
do I control the volume from here?
He's controlling.
You're going to control the volume? Okay, let me give my introduction first.
Okay,
Okay.
the microphone's live.
Okay, good. I think we got it. Thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. Oops. Thank you. There is a scientific phenomenon with huge societal implications. You know what I'm talking about? Climate change. Yep, that's it. We need entire societies to change their mindset in order to mitigate climate change, to give us time to adapt to the changes that are already too late to stop. That's where you folks in education come in. We need a scientifically literate society. You are in a position at this point in history to affect societal change. So please, every chance you get, teach climate. A few years ago, a group in Belgium created a song, Sing for the Climate, as a community sing-along to try to encourage everyone to take more ambitious climate action. I'm going to play the song for you now. Listen to it. I think you'll really enjoy it. The voices are great. The song is great, right? Those people who are in my session know. And listen to the words carefully, but also pay attention to how it makes you feel. This is a joining of the arts, in this case music, and the science, your head and your heart, which is what we need in society right now. Everybody has heard the science by now, but they're not all buying it. Let's look for other ways where we can combine the feelings with the facts in order to move forward together. So I'm going to play it once through, listen to it, watch the singers, and then I'll play another version, which is the karaoke version. You know what to do.
Set.
Yep.
And we future, and we need to start right now.
All right. So this is Sing for the Climate. While we tee up the next version, which is the karaoke version, be thinking about whether you know a group of children and or adults who might be interested in performing this as well. When you go onto YouTube, you will see a number of different versions. The group that created it, the Flemish group in Belgium, northern Belgium, yes, they do give you permission to use the music, use their singing, use their song to create your own song fest. When they did this in Belgium, they had 80,000 people contributing that day in the little towns around Belgium. The people recorded it, then sent it into this group, and that is another version where you see clips of them all over Belgium singing this same song. So think about your schools, your institutions, your teacher centers. Hey, there's an idea. We're going to record this while you are singing. You will have the words up there. It is a karaoke version. The only thing that we ask is if you are in tables where there are seats in front of you closer to the stage, could you please move up so that we don't have these empty spots here? So the people at that table, could you please just move up for the song? There's some table here that could use some filling in. People at that table way far over, could you just move over? I promise you can go back to your warmed up seat right after the song. It's being recorded in the back.
Okay.
Can the camera move around, or is the camera stationary?
I think the camera's
One of the,
stationary.
people just asked. And said they should get in case.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. chance you get, talk to people about climate change. Keep talking to them, keep teaching them, and let's move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it blurry still? I would like to take the opportunity, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. And I've lost my notes. Dr. Oliver Robinson, the superintendent of Shenendehowa. He has been one of the longest serving superintendents in New York State. He has been an amazing contributor to STEM, and it's our absolute pleasure to have him join us this evening. So without further ado, Dr. Robinson.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can everyone hear him? Okay, can you talk a little bit, Dr. Robinson, just for us to vet the mic?
Sure. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that better?
It's a little bit soft. Let me just try one other thing here. Can you speak again?
Yes, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
Thank
awesome.
you. And you're looking at the audience here, and thank you for your patience as we conducted some other business. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. I was just making sure that the issue wasn't on my end, that's all.
Okay, we should be good to go. So please proceed. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. My apology for not being there in person. However, as I often say, duty call. And I had to be here in Clifton Park. We got a little, as you probably imagine, we always have dramas with staffing and board members and everything else. So again, my apologies for not being there with you this evening. So, but anyway, good evening. Certainly hope that you had a productive day. And just looking at the tables, I'm assuming that you also had a great meal and ready for me to tell you a bedtime story. That's supposed to be funny, by the way. In case you don't find the humor, I guess you haven't had a long enough day yet. But anyway, as introduced, I'm Dr. L. Oliver Robinson. I'm the superintendent of the Shenandoah Central School District, fondly known as Shen. I just started my 19th year as the superintendent of Shen, my 23rd overall, having served the Mahanosa Central School District prior to coming to Shenandoah. But let me go back before my Shen and Mohan days and go back to my Bernox Wrestler days with you at BKW. As a young PhD in school finance and education leadership, I was anxious and excited to find my first admin job. So fortunate that back in the early 90s, New York offered a retirement incentive for which administrators were eligible. The catch was that the district could only replace the retiree with someone at half the salary. To me, it didn't matter much. I just wanted to get into the field and master my craft. I was and still am a student of the profession. So on my first day in my office as a school business administrator, my background is economics, I asked my secretary to let me know which computer or files the budget was on. To my chagrin, she turned around, walked out, and came back in with these very archaic-looking hardcover binders, the ones with the screws at the end with the long accounting sheets. She plopped them on my desk and said, "Here's the budget." I really thought I was in a twilight zone. Her lips was moving very slowly when she said, "My predecessor never used a computer." And she pointed to the pack of pencils and the calculator in the desk drawer. That was my introduction to administration in New York. And I just kind of use that for context when you think about, at one point, as administrators, we had administrators that never used a computer. And so needless to say, that had to change. We had to move into the 20th century. Forget about the 21st century, preparing for what the 21st century had to hold. And certainly being an Excel spreadsheet was at that time, I spent many, many days and nights converting 5 years of past budgets in those binders into spreadsheets with various tabs, categorizing budget codes and fund types, saving them on, believe it or not, I'm sure some of you could appreciate it, the 3.5-inch floppy disk, each having only a whopping 1.4 megabytes of storage capacity. And the reason why I was doing that, because actually I had one of the first computers that had been purchased in that district for years. Because remember, the person who was in charge of finance never used a computer. So never saw a real sense of urgency to purchase new computers, much less. And so certainly I was trying to preserve that 5 megabyte of hard drive capacity that was on that first new computer. So to this day, believe it or not, in my desk drawer here at Shen, I have the stacks of those disks and even a zip drive that at that time allowed me to store a lot more information and access it easier. So why am I sharing that story to start out? Because in many ways, those are like the wonder years. Because now there's an app for that. And more in reality, I have more computing power in my phone than all the computers that were in the office at that time. So the point of the story is this, and certainly you could appreciate it as individuals who live in the world of technological innovation and or have a strong interest. The point of the story is, well, for one, to open the palace of your mind, knowing that you just filled your bellies, but more importantly, to provide perspective, to contextualize what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes here. So certainly, 3 years ago, the focus, if we were having this conversation of my comments, would have been preparing to pivot the model of education from in-person to virtual to hybrid to back in-person to some other points even virtual again. So think about it. Think about how much and how fast the provision of education was transformed by the integration of technology. Google Classrooms and Google Meets became the common household names. You're on mute became the expected mistake. And emojis on the screen was perfect cover for turning on your computer, walking out of a meeting, and hence why I always insisted my administrators always have their faces on the screen. I share all that to show how much as leaders for learning, regardless of job titles, we are charged with managing ambiguity in a pursuit of equity and opportunities and outcomes, transforming the countless challenges we face into opportunities. But COVID wasn't the first time that technology took front and center, certainly in my career. And just to reminisce for a moment, I'm sure many of you remember the Y2K bug that meant every computer was going to shut down because they could not go beyond the year 2000. And certainly then we have mobile devices being deployed in our schools. And here for me as Shen and certainly at Mahonison, we had to come up with bring your own device policies. They became very prominent. And then we ran into the problem of having too many computers and have to deal with the mental health of screen time, where all of a sudden that was the big issue, too much screen time for kids. And ironically, I don't know about you, I haven't heard about screen time issues since COVID. So it's interesting how things evolve over time. And certainly one-on-one computers and Chromebooks became very faddish. In fact, many people were rushing to be the first to have one-to-one. And clearly now, as we are in the 21st century of cutting-edge pedagogy, we're all focused on digital resources to ensure that we can have access to resources anywhere, anytime. And clearly, one of the big issues we find now is text messages and social media and online chats, to the point where we have to have courses on digital citizenships to prevent online bullying with kids in classrooms, and firewalls to protect kids from themselves and keep out bad actors from our systems. And so certainly when we think about it, things have evolved. Even to the point now, the irony of it is, we're now starting to ban children from bringing devices to schools. Bans on cell phones in schools is becoming very popular. So I think it's so ironic that the more we grew in terms of access to technology, we also then had to contend with the challenges of having such prominent access to technology. And clearly, and I'll speak about this more in a minute, as we're embarking on developing academic integrity policies to contend with AI, that's when we know we're truly in a different space in terms of managing ambiguity in these very crucible times, where our lives and livelihoods are literally being transformed daily. And as educators, as leaders for learning, it's critical for us to not perseverate so much on the change, but on how the change can enhance the manifestation of the fundamental value that I believe that drive our work, which is an unwavering focus on the best interest of our students, preserving equity and opportunities and outcomes for all our students. So clearly, we cannot speak about advancements in the integration of technology in schools without referencing the revolutionary shifts stemming from the COVID pandemic, an awful crisis, but it was also an eye-opening experience for us in schools. As we remain oriented to the fundamental value and belief in preserving equity and opportunities and outcomes for all students, we recognize the vast differences in student needs. The crisis of COVID lifted the veils of false parity, revealing gross inequities that existed in society that manifested in our schools. We saw the economic and financial disparities and stresses that families were feeling that we did not realize before that. We saw the lack of ubiquitous access into internet connectivity and access to technology, where we were delivering technology in hot spots to families. We also saw the parental capacity constraints, where parents themselves were struggling to support their young people in this new age of teaching and learning. So here's the reality. The approach then and the approach now, and moving forward, has to be both tactical and strategic. We have to be keenly focused on positioning our schools for continued prosperity. In the midst of COVID, we have to recalibrate our thinking about teaching and learning, and even about what we're teaching and how we are assessing learning. We are all compelled to prioritize learning standards to allow for the slowing down of what I call the proverbial game, and going deeper with content exposure and proficiency, scaffolding skill buildings, and avoiding learning gaps. Essentially, we have to be intentional about ensuring that students' learning needs were the apex at the center of our work, of all our work and actions. And so, as we look to another school year, the 23-24 school year, it's vital, critical that we take what I call a future-present perspective. A future-present perspective, viewing the conditions and provisions of schools prospectively, and guided by the tenets of rigor, relevance, and resilience, and responsibility. And so let me just take a few minutes and unpack that whole perspective of future-present perspective for you a little bit more. See, there's a difference between being forward-focused and a future-present focus. A forward focus means starting from where you are now and looking ahead, which like most people do. This is where we are, and we're going to move ahead. A future-present perspective, however, means starting from where you want to be, looking back from that point, and then researching and developing that comprehensive plan to get it done. In other words, as I sit here now, I'm thinking about what does 2035, 2040 look like? Why? Because right now we know we have within our midst the class of 2036, our kindergartners. So I have to think about what does that look like in 2036, and looking back right now in 2013, in 2023, and asking ourselves those critical questions. What do we need to do different right now so that our students in 2036, as they cross the stage, they'll be as prepared as possible for whatever the world at that time has to offer. So I say that because although the tools or the apps may change, our purpose as educators, as facilitators for learning, hasn't changed. Because we have this awesome responsibility of helping to mold the minds of our children and shaping them for their futures. Not our futures, for their futures. And we have to bring out the genius so they can fulfill their promise. And just to give a perspective in terms of sometimes technology change and people panic. I recently heard a gentleman said, and he used the profanity, he used the word hell. He said, hell, when they discovered a calculator, they didn't get rid of accountants. We just had to do it differently. And so as the economic landscape is being significantly redefined, schools are also increasingly being expected to prepare students with the skill sets for the 21st century. We have to be prepared to prepare students for increased competitiveness in the market space. And we certainly have to be prepared to prepare students for the rapidly changing technological advancements. So here's the good news. The good news is that students of today are truly digital natives. And the changing demographics of our staff are also technology natives. Quite frankly with you, I'm feeling pretty old now that I have students that's telling me, hey, Dr. Robinson, I remember you when I was in kindergarten. And now they're teachers of ours. So I'm really, really thinking maybe it's time for me to go fishing. Not yet, by the way. But to give you even more perspective, I want to share a quick story. Recently, I walked in my house and saw my daughter, who was so excited to get her first paycheck. I saw her tearing up the paycheck. So I impulsively grabbed her arm and was about to begin in that barrage of fatherly chastisement. When she said, Dad, what's the problem? I said, give me the check. I will deposit it in the bank in the morning. She said, Dad, I just did it. I just did it with my phone. Well, needless to say, I was a little embarrassed and also recognized that I'm a little old school, a nice way of saying not as current as I thought. And so after hearing that story, I'm sure some of you probably wondering, how can this guy lead a school district to be progressive and on the cutting edge? Well, that's where smart, tech-savvy individuals like yourselves, not recognizing everyone in the room, play pivotal roles. Consequently, though, districts must foster school cultures that promote and support innovative thinking. Schools that provide more engaging instructional technology, learning opportunities online, globally based lesson plan where we can have intercontinental collaborations, where the entire world becomes our students' playgrounds. And so when you think about pedagogy in schools, yes, it has evolved from the days of teachers simply assigning, monitoring, and correcting to now teachers truly being facilitators for learning. Because teachers of today and tomorrow must be able to contextualize learning skills so students are prepared to critically think, problem solve, be creative and innovative. So it's not a question of whether or not schools will change. Schools have changed and will continue to evolve to coincide with what I call a knowledge-based economy, fueled by exponential changes in technology. I remember, just a little go back for a second here, I remember being a student at Brown University in the late 80s. And a professor challenged us, the entire class. He said none of us knew how to learn. Yes, we were all great students, but we had not learned how to learn. It piqued my attention. Yes, I was a little bit insulted. Piqued my attention. And I started to think about the many courses I received in AN and how little I actually remembered from those courses. I'm sure some of you right now are thinking about that yourselves. The many courses you have taken over time, you say, yeah, I have 5 years of Spanish, but I can't speak a lick of Spanish to save my life. It's almost like you pour out whatever knowledge you accumulated through the year onto the final exam, and you leave it back into the room that you got the knowledge from. only to be excited about the otherwise arbitrary grade or a GPA. And certainly, as one of my colleagues recently said to me, Dr. Elizabeth Wood, who's a deputy soup here, she said, there's a difference between students attending school and students learning, fostering agency, engaging in productive struggle. This means we then have to facilitate intentional interruptions so that our students can truly broaden their cognitive horizons. So as we think about our role as educators in these times where technology changed so much and so much of what we do, the glue that binds us is that intellectual value of being thinkers. The intellectual value of being thinkers. See, there's a lot of research, even debates, about the power of the human brain. And this is probably most notable when we consider the pace of knowledge, which has gone from being counted in terms of centuries and decades to now months, with some estimating that human knowledge doubles every 13 years. To me, that's pretty astonishing when you think about that. Just recognizing that the vaulting of intellectual value takes into consideration not only the economic implications, but the socio-political implications. In other words, what we think about and what we do impacts the entire world around us, and subsequently we have an extra reason to have a heightened obligation to our students in these days and times. But don't worry, I won't attempt to unpack all that tonight, recognizing again, it's been a long day for all of you, and I'm standing between you and your favorite nightcap. However, I want to take some time to delve a little bit into the significance of sage leadership during the crisis of rapid growth in knowledge and as a result of technological advancements. And again, I'm going to go back to two letters, AI. The existence of generative artificial intelligence serves as the tailwind, if you will, that has thrust us into an unknown future, necessitating that as educators, we too must learn how to learn, and then help our students do the same. Trust me, I'm not going to stand here and try to pretend to be a tech expert, and not even someone who's at this point fluent with the AI lingo, or has played and experimented with ChatGPT. No, not at all. But I do stand here to profess that the ultimate role we play as leaders for learning, regardless again of the device or the app, is to stimulate and feed intellectual curiosity. The most important quality we can impart on our students is that of being continuous, ferocious learners. Because the reality is that technology is at the center of our personal and professional stability. Increasingly, as educators, we're functioning in this very uncharted waters, and we're relying on our ability to manage ambiguity, to manage the unforeseen, to foster those environments that are, again, conducive to people leaning into challenges and taking risks. So the question that I have, and the one that I'm posing for all of you to contemplate, is what are we going to do with the technological advancements and the exponential knowledge accumulation that's happening right as we speak? Will our actions as leaders for learning foster and facilitate the next generation of breakthroughs? Or will our students simply be mere consumers? So, as we have always known, that the purpose of education is not merely to obtain and accumulate knowledge. It's about taking what is learned and applying it to make a difference, putting knowledge into action. It's truly about initiating muscular approaches to advancement, firmly believing in the transcendent and transforming powers of education. Recognize that innovative approaches to education is increasingly essential. And so when we think about our roles, this lends to a larger question of what's truly the role of even public schools. I was recently in a conversation with someone saying that more and more kids can access whatever information they need. It's all at their fingertips. And certainly with artificial intelligence, they simply put in words, true or false, good or bad, they can have entire documentation. And just give you one that's very personal, just happening, just read an email. We had a young person, as a part of a college essay, use AI to write the college essay. The university saw certain things about it and questioned the young people about it. This young person's admission was recently denied as a result of that. It's brought to my attention because now the parents are gearing up to sue potentially the university and wants to use us as witness number one. The reality of it is we're not in this game, but it showed me that, wow, I never thought that so early in this game that schools will be thrust into a whole different dimension in terms of how people access and use information. So truly then we have to start thinking about what's the purpose of our public schools. And to me the answer is very simple. It's to provide unbridled opportunities in which the credibility of our students as learners is never questioned. And the recent situation I just shared with you certainly put that right in focus to me, to ensure that the credibility of our students as learners is never questioned. So already I'm thinking very much differently in terms of how do we embark upon the next chapter of schooling for our students. And so let me leave you with some final thoughts, again, recognizing that you all were waiting for your cocktail hour or whatever else you do at this conference after 8 o'clock. We have an obligation to have our students being arrested by the experience of school. Each day discovering new meaning, each day new understanding, and accumulating new knowledge. That is the transcending and transforming power of education. You may not know when or where, but we do know that at some point, the fruit of our labor as leaders for learning will blossom and be revealed in our students. Some may call it the light bulb moment, the epiphany, if you will. I call it the impact of us as leaders for learning, having a lasting impression, helping our students expand their circumstances to fit their big dreams, to be difference makers. And to punctuate this point with you, this past June at our graduation, the words, a portion of the words that I shared with the class of 2023, and it came from a song. I heard the lyrics of a song, and the lyrics said, "Don't quit your daydreams. It's your life you're making. Don't quit your daydreams. It's your life you're making." I translated that to mean don't replace your dreams and ideas with skepticism and fear. Don't compromise your promise for comfort. Hold true to your unrealistic big dreams. Because honestly, as I told our students, if your desires for your future don't scare you, you're selling yourself short. I also told them that their plan B should be plan brilliant, only to be surpassed by their plan A, which should be plan absolutely awesome. So when you think about our roles as educators, our roles right now are even more critical than any time before. Because we truly, as educators, not only do we have to contend with what we know, but we have to manage the tremendous and changing ambiguity of the future. So as I look to bid you good night, I say steadfastly, go forward. For every step that we take for our students, every step that we take as leaders for learning is an opportunity, is a potential door open. Each moment we have to serve is a gift to our students. Each moment is a gift. Each interaction an opportunity to make a difference. And so when we reflect on the past, we do so to appreciate the present and subsequently to be widely optimistic about the future. I don't know about you, but I'm embracing the luminous future with confidence that's fueled by knowing that the seeds planted today will yield crops tomorrow. So when we think about our roles as leaders for learning, it's an awesome responsibility that we must embrace. And I'm going to punctuate this with a personal story about myself. I came to this country from Jamaica as a young child at age 7, actually turned 8. August 1977. My father came, if my father, give you context, if my father was alive right now, he would be 107 years old. My father, when I was born, I'm the exact age as my father. And I cannot imagine having a kid right now. Could not imagine it. And so I'll give you some context. August 1977, Miami International Airport. My father stopped us, myself, and 3 other siblings. I'm the youngest of 8. We have 2 generations. My oldest brother is 20 years almost to the day than I am. Stopped us in the airport and said, you're in this country for one reason and one reason only. And that's to take advantage of everything education has to offer. So in me, it's embedded that public education in this country is truly the passport to a brighter future for so many people. And sometimes I pinch myself to think the little kid that used to climb mango trees in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, is now leading one of the most prominent school districts in the state. I pinch myself every day to say how blessed I am to be a blessing for countless young people. And so if you leave with nothing else I say, I want to leave with that and be motivated, be inspired to truly do all the things. So someday another young person like me, who's sitting in a very obscure world, will become the next leader, the next person to motivate people to move forward with tremendous optimism about the future. So I thank you. I thank you for what you do. I don't know you, but I'm sure that we have the same commonality, and that's the best interest of the students we serve. Thank you all very much.
Dr. Robinson, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Do you have a few minutes for questions from the audience?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are there any questions? We've got a request that you clone yourself, and they would like to take the clone back to their district.
I really thank you. That's like the best compliment, right? So I really appreciate that comment. I appreciate that compliment. But you know what? We all have that thing in us, right? I call that fire that burns deeply in us. That you know what? We have to light it up so we can light other people up to get excited too. So I appreciate that compliment. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you. Well, are there any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much. I'm going to, we've got a plaque for you that we will be sending along. And well, I'm hoping you can,
Oh, there it is.
you can see that.
I can see it.
And we
Yes,
will
I
be
can see it.
sending it
Thank
to you, and we want to thank you for an outstanding presentation and for your contribution to a wonderful conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much and have a good night. Thank you all. Thank you.
So, we appreciate your participation, and we will be in touch. Take care.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much, Joe.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, I'd like to thank you all. I've got a couple of notes in closing this evening. We'll see if I'm doing any better with my notes now than I was before. Please remember to stop at the Teacher Geek table and to get your T-shirt and your robotic materials. When you arrived at the conference, in addition to your book, you received a QR code with an evaluation link on it. You should have those. You can fill it out more than once. We're asking some demographic questions at first, but if you'd like to fill it out for today, this evening, or for today and yesterday, please do so. Your feedback is vital for us to improve the quality of the programming for next year. So we'd like to know the things that went well and the things that you think might be beneficial to consider for the future. Complete the form as often as you need to. We don't have any responses yet, the last time I looked this afternoon, but I would appreciate your responses as soon as you can see fit. The doors should be open tomorrow morning at 6:30. If they're not, try the handicapped access button that automatically opens the door. I had a comment from somebody that seemed to work this morning. Hopefully we've got that situation under control. There was a problem with the water main break on campus, And I was told that it affected the dorms, but it's fixed now, and the townhouses are all set. They're working well, so there's no need to move. Are there any other items for the good of the order this evening? Okay, stickers. We will get the stickers and have them in the front of the room, Paula. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, are there any other items? Frank? The award winners should come up. Yes, the Ashita award winners should come up and pick up, and there's some boxes with some wrapping paper. Tracy did, so if you want to just leave it on the table. She was collecting, but you must have gotten by her. Okay. Are there any other items for the good of the order? Thank you all. I'll see you tomorrow morning at the crack of dawn. Thank you for a great day today.